When it comes to improving exposure and color, using Adobe Camera as a filter can really save the day. So let's take a look at another example of how we can use Camera as a filter, and in particular as a smart filter, so we have extra flexibility when making adjustments to our photographs. So here, click or target on the layer that you want to work on, and then right-click or control-click. From the pop-up menu, choose Convert to Smart Object. Once the layer is a smart object, you want to navigate to the Filter pull-down menu, and then here choose Camera Filter. This will launch the image in Camera right here inside of Photoshop. And what I want to do with this image is correct the exposure. The background here of this sunset photograph is a bit too bright, and the foreground is a bit too dark. One of the ways that you can identify exposure issues is by clicking on your clipping indicator icons here in the histogram. When I turn on the clipping indicator icons for my highlights and my shadows, the highlight area shows me that this area is clipped. In other words, there isn't any detail there. Well, we can recover that by working with our highlight slider. So here I'll go ahead and click and drag the highlights to the left. Now that corrected the problem so far, yet I want to leave these indicators turned on, and you'll see why in a minute. Next, I'm going to brighten up the overall exposure. In brightening up the exposure, I like the way the image looks here, but you notice there's some clipping here in the hair and also on this area in the picture. Well, let's not worry about that for now. Next, we'll go ahead and increase the contrast. And I should say, we're not going to worry about that for now because we'll be fixing that in a minute after we make some more adjustments. Here, I'm going to increase the contrast, change my color temperature in order to warm this up a little bit. And then I'll also bring up a little bit of clarity and vibrance and color saturation in order to enhance and warm this image up and to create a more vibrant photograph. Well, after having made these adjustments, I also want to increase my temperature even a little bit more so that this photograph is really warm and inviting. Here, we'll bring up the tint value as well. Now if we click on the preview checkbox, we can see here's the before and now here's the after. While the image looks better, I've also created more of an exposure issue. So sometimes you want to keep that indicator on as you modify those sliders because you saw that indicator grow or that problem area grow as I made other adjustments. Now we can always fix this by working with this highlight slider and try to bring it down. Yet if we can't get this all the way out of the image, what you can do is navigate to the next panel, which is called the Curve panel. Here in the Curve panel, we can access two different curves, the parametric or the point. The curve that you want in order to fix clipping is the point curve. If you click on the top white point here and just drag this down, it can help you to correct really tough problems in regards to exposure. Again, removing the clipping indicator that we had there. And the great thing about this is we can further adjust the image. We can brighten it up here a little bit, brighten up the mid-tone range. We could also click and drag down here in the shadows in order to add a little bit more contrast. In this way, we can customize the correction and also enhance the photograph at the same time. All right, well now let's click on the preview checkbox. Here we can see is our before and after we've made this adjustment here using the tone curve. In this case, just correcting the detail that we have here in the highlights. And here I'm just going to modify this just a touch further. All right, that looks good. Next, back to the basic panel. Here in the basic panel, we'll increase our contrast just a little bit more, making sure to not introduce any more clipping. Warm the image up a little bit more as well. Again, I'm going for a nice warm look in this photograph. All right, well, after we have dialed in all of our settings and done all of this magic, all that we can do here with Camera, the next step, of course, is to click OK. This will apply these Camera settings as a smart filter. And here in the Layers panel, we can click on the eye icon to view the before and then now the after. Now, we could have made similar adjustments working here inside of Photoshop, say working with curves or color bounce or different adjustments. Yet by going to Camera, it allowed us to apply all of those adjustments really quickly and easily, and it gave us that insight into knowing which area we had problems with by turning on those clipping indicators. So here in this example, really what I wanted to highlight is how sometimes when it comes to correcting exposure or color, Camera can really save the day. And when you apply Camera as a smart filter, of course, you have this extra bit of flexibility, so you can always go back by double-clicking the Camera filter, which is located in the Layers panel here, in order to further modify those settings. So in this way, it gives us the ability to apply excellent and non-destructive adjustments to our photograph.